All right, we have, I don't know how many people here today, but looks like close to 40 or something like that. By the way, I want to thank Mike Bracken for doing this. He puts together a pretty good program for us and makes it pretty simple for us to display it to the members. So let's go. All right, the first one is George Quay. You on here, George? Apparently not. Okay, we'll go to the next one then. That's George Quay also. George Quay. Hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. George Quay again.
Deep boy.
All right, Mike Nathel, you're up. Hello, Mike.
Okay, I had to unmute myself. Okay, this is a spalted sycamore. These pictures are a little bit squished. They're not. The piece looks on the left, especially, looks a little bit fatter than it's supposed to. It really is taller. But anyway, the spalted sycamore hollow form. It's a new shape for me where I've sort of put that distinct rim at the near the top, and the wood was very nice, very nice. Sycamore is still one of my favorite woods. This is finished with I don't know, about 10 coats of white bond poly, oil base. Go ahead.
Just a minute. My bad. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, this one is squished too. I don't know what happened there. Anyways, this is Pear. This piece is end grain, so the pith of the tree is right through the middle of the opening at the hollow form, and it cracked quite a bit. The end checking. Fruit woods are known for that, of checking a lot, but and this one checked quite a bit, because I didn't hollow it until after it had checked. But you could see the gap in that one crack was almost a ½ inch wide. But that's filled with coffee grounds and probably CA glue, maybe some epoxy, I can't remember. And then the turquoise chips in there in the cracks, kind of like that one. But you can't really tell the shape because the photograph is distorted a little bit. So
I think that's Ron's displays got it stretched out.
Okay. Okay, these are what I'm calling seed pods, for lack of a better term, but I just thought I had some scraps. I didn't want to make another batch of spheres. So I made these things with little projections off the top and experimenting with different kinds. I thought they came out kind of fun. Again, you see quite a few different varieties of wood. They're all around 2 to 3 inches in diameter. I like the sequoia one in the back. That's kind of nifty. What else? Oh, I did mention the word sphere. I have a question. When I gave my demonstration on spheres last summer, someone asked me about Odie's oil. Is that person on the meeting today?
Well, I had asked you about it, but I mean.
Okay. Anyways, all right. I've been thinking about trying it. I wanted to talk to anyone who has tried Odie's oil in the past. Okay, this one here, box elder, 5-inch to 6-inch diameter. Olive form. You can see a lot of chatoyancy in this piece of wood, but if you look carefully, you can see that this was turned green, and then it warped after it was turned. And you can see that I don't know, the one on the right to me looks a lot better. Looks a lot more symmetrical. On the one on the left, you can see that it's sort of tilted. I don't know, just the profile on the left versus the right looks a little bit bizarre. But Yeah. But I like the wood. Very, very pretty wood.
Oh, yeah, because it's probably been up for a couple hours, yeah.
Any other questions? This is also wipe on poly finish.
Ron Seeloff, you need to mute all.
Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody. If you need to talk, can I just unmute yourself?
Okay, so this is my favorite. This was a very difficult one, probably the most difficult turning I've ever done. This is 3 small hollow forms, each about 2 or 3 inches in diameter, all single piece of wood off of a curved branch.
Now, if I could,
Looks pretty cool. I don't know what kind of wood it was. It was just in my pile.
How did you do that without killing yourself?
I'll show you on the next slide.
Oh, God. You're lucky you still have fingers.
There it is. So it's grew to a very large faceplate. It's way out of balance. So I added a chunk of metal to balance it better. And you can see how I've done 2 out of the 3 hollow forms so far. This one I had to turn in reverse. The hollow form tools have a gooseneck shapes, which I'll talk about next Saturday to some degree. They curve only in one direction. So to get around these curves, I actually used the hollow form on the right side of the spindle axis, and I turned in reverse for part of the way to get down deep around the corners. So again, I'm proud of this one.
Dan Maloney. Are you there, Dan?
Okay.
Dan is on.
Hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, following Mike Nathal is a no small task, but this is a Christmas gift I gave to my wife. It's a utility box, and it's made out of cherry. It's about 7 inches wide by 2 inches high. She likes birding and she likes cherry as her favorite wood, so it made sense to put the two together. That's an acrylic painting, and surprisingly enough, I put an oil-based finish on it, and it was totally unaffected. It did not affect the acrylic at all. The finish was General Finishes gel top coat. It's a satin finish, oil-based, and I use that because George Rader uses it, and I like the way it looks. And I didn't put a finial on it because I thought it was going to go in a narrow shelf, but it hasn't yet. So that's an alternative. You just drill a hole and you're there. Next one. Okay, these are what's called offset turning. They're 2 of my beginning pieces. If you're interested in this, YouTube has a woman, Barbara Dill, D-I-L-L, that does a fantastic job with this kind of turning. These are about 8 inches by about 1.5 inches wide. And if you can, they're just beads, coves, and V-cuts. The only thing is you have to move the axis away from center axis, either parallel or twisted. And just for some decoration, I put spheres on them. And in the image, the spheres don't look perfectly round, and that's because my camera isn't quite right. No, that's because I didn't do it one of 5 ways that Mike Nathal described. I just did it by eye, and I didn't turn it, and I buffed it. But this is a lot of fun, and you ought to give it a try. Next one. Okay, these are curly fries. And what you do, you take a potato and you put it between centers. You turn the lathe speed slow and you make light cuts. You take that plate and you position it so the shavings fall on the plate. You put the stuff in a pan with some oil and you move it around till it turns brown and you eat it. And it's a lot of fun. And if you have an accident, the potatoes fall straight down. And it's just something different to do. So
Oh,
that's
or
all.
spindle gouge.
Spindle gouge, yes.
Is this a result of coronavirus?
It's a solution. Yeah, we didn't want to go to the grocery store that week, and so no, it's just something different. You know, I got throughout this virus and everything and limited activity and sheer boredom. I tried a couple new things, and I actually got the idea from a YouTube video by Carl Jacobson, who also turned some curly fries. So I think that's my last one. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Thanks.
different. Only you could come up with that, Dan.
They taste good too.
Okay, Tom Foreman. Are you there, Tom? If so, you got to unmute your mic. Okay, apparently he's not there. Looks like elm to me. Bottom anyway. Looks like a segmented bowl. Apparently he's not here. A little different. Somebody ought to tell Tom Christmas is over. Roger Walker. I could have swore I saw you there a few minutes ago, Roger. I know you were on Facebook 5 minutes before the meeting.
I don't see him.
Okay, we'll go on then. Another Roger Walker. He does nice work. He's getting pretty close to Tim Newandowski. John Haskell.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
Okay, that is a replica of a 105 millimeter artillery shell. I have a grandson that these coming up now, I made all for Christmas presents. That's like the actual size. And he's into guns, ammo and stuff like that, so. I just got a piece of scrap wood I had in the basement, made a base for it so it doesn't fall over. But that thing's almost 4 foot high. Don't ask
Wow.
what kind of wood it is, I don't know.
Not exactly concealed carry material.
What was that?
Not exactly concealed carry material.
No.
That was a joke.
Yeah, you can't conceal 4 feet of metal.
Yeah, because that's almost 4 foot high, yeah. And these are, each of these come in a set of 2 for their pepper grinders. There's supposed to be a little tree on the left. I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. The one on the right was supposed to be the planets of the, around the earth. But I'm not sure what kind of wood I used because my wife tried to make different colors for the different planets, stain it on them. And it just didn't take right. So she wound up just making it all one color then for the granddaughter. What's the next one? Then, now all these things you're seeing, I gave a piece of paper to each grandchild to let them draw what they wanted. So the one on the left, my one grandson drew that. It turned out pretty nice. And the one on the right, I made a chess set, king and queen chess set. I think that's out of Walnut. They're about 8 inches high. Okay, now that grandson, I got the big artillery shell. This is a sort of a replica of a 50 caliber bullet. And I just took the actual sizes off the internet and I multiply it like, somewhere around 3 times. But the problem is the height of it, the base there should be about 4 inches higher. So I don't think that would work for a pepper grinder because these are salt and pepper grinders. The one on the left, I had a grandson, he drew that out himself, and that's red elm. That's about 10 inches high, both of them. Got another one? Okay, then I made a set of, this is a lighthouse, of course. I'm not sure what kind of wood that is. But I made a set like that. That's about 10 inches high. This is a set of salt and pepper grinders. And the one on the left, I think I used Purple Heart. The one on the right was I'm not sure if that's just a maple. But when I got all turned, then my wife made a label on the computer and she printed it out and glued it on. And then I just kept going. I don't know how many coats of sanding sealer I put on. And I get so many on there and I wet sand it down a little bit. I just kept going until the paper was glued on there. I didn't have any kind of edge. It was just all even like, so it wouldn't peel off. But they turned out really nice. When we gave this all to the kids at Christmas time. And when we gave these to my granddaughter, she actually started crying. I think they turned out really cute because they resemble a wine bottle. They turned out really nice.
Yes, quite nice. Very nice.
All right, this is, I don't know who this is.
Riney.
Ryan? Okay,
Sometimes I don't know who it is either.
okay.
Let's see. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, fine, go ahead.
Oh, okay. These are, I've got a shelf on the stairs down to the basement where my shop is. It's a what the hell did you buy this for and what the hell are you going to do it with it shelf? I stick things on there so I'm forced to look at them about 10 times a day as I walk by. These are coffee tree burls that I picked up. I can't remember where, about 3 years ago, and they've been sitting there wondering what the hell to do with them. So I finally picked them up about a month ago and fitted them for some votive candle holders, and that's what evolved. So the burls are just as is, polished up a little bit and hollowed out, and the stems they were just made from scraps of birch dowels, and the base is, I think, a piece of ash, and there's a mahogany, 1/4-inch mahogany slab that I carved out to make the leaves that's glued onto that. So that's what became of it, and they're no longer on the what the hell are you going to do with this shelf? They've been replaced with something. They've been replaced with something else. This is it's a piece of holly. My stepdaughter lives in the DC area, has a big piece of property, and they're filled with holly trees that need to be thinned down once in a while. This is a big one. It was about 14 inches in diameter, and this is the root flare right down at the base. If you flip it upside down, it would have been in the proper orientation from the tree, and it split on me while it was after I cut it, and so I just started cutting slots into it, basically with the Suzuki saw, the Japanese saw, and that kind of relieved the stress, and so those are all splits that flare out, and it's lined with a glass vase, so you can put fresh cut flowers in it if you want to.
Nice.
Very nice.
These are all cherry. I did these about a month ago and got into a little rut here with these. They're all cherry. They're the white part is milk paint, and it's just scored really lightly with I think I did them with a skew chisel, with a small skew chisel. Just cut the grooves in them real close to each other. And then each one of them, I think each one of them's got a carving. You can't see them very well on the photos here. There's a carving into the cherry that's the natural cherry, and they turn out quite nicely. The milk paint's put on in about 3 or 4 coats, and then just lightly wired brush with a brass wire brush. between coats, and that roughs them up a little bit and exposes some of the deep troughs in the cherry so that it looks kind of old.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit.
This was a core from a bigger piece of northern white cedar that had it's got a great big knot right in the center of it. And it's about 8 inches in diameter. I just used it to experiment with these metallic paints. And I think this is about the 4th iteration on it. I kept on trying some designs on the center, and then I take it upstairs to my wife, who's a fiber artist, and she just said, "Nah, it doesn't work." So I take it back down and turn off about 1/8 of an inch into the depth again and try it again. So this was it almost went in the trash heap, but it turned out really nicely. It's a metallic paint. This stuff is made, I don't know if anybody's ever used it. This stuff is made by a company called Modern Masters, I think. And you can buy, first thing you do is apply it's kind of a reddish acrylic primer that they make for their stuff. Put on 2 coats of that, and then the metallic paint goes right over that. And it's I think I've got it in bronze, copper, and iron. And then there's an oxidizer that goes with it. That's probably just a combination of vinegar. Who knows what they put in it, but it works nicely. Put on 2 coats of the metallic paint. The metallic paint could be used just straight out. And it's got actual metal particles in it. And if you want to verdigris it or oxidize it, you put on another coat. And while it's still wet, you spray on a fine mist of the oxidizer. And in about 15 minutes, it goes like this. It just creates this beautiful oxidation, this verdigris. You can do it in blue, green, or rust if you're using the iron particles. It produces a really nice result. I don't know if you can see on the center piece, I like to wire brush it a little bit too. I like using brass wire brushes a lot. And if you scrub it a little bit lightly, it'll reveal the copper underneath. So you get this nice iridescence. If you've never tried them, it's a really fun thing to try to work with. And it really does look like metal when it's done. The center is burned. Those are all little red hot burn dots, the black part.
You need to do a demo for the club on that someday.
I'd be happy to. Just say the
Joe,
word.
you hear that? You got a phone call to make, Joe.
Yeah, no, we already have one for next month for him.
I know, but hey, we got a year to go here. Okay.
This is a piece of juniper. Somebody cut down a juniper tree in the neighborhood, and they were going to chop it up, and I found it right at the last minute. It was a beautiful piece of juniper, which is, it's not easy to find in that big a dimension. I think the bigger parts are about 12 inches in diameter. I love working with this stuff because the colors are just so beautiful. You got these blood reds against these cream colors on the sapwood, and this one turned out kind of nice because I managed to keep one of the branches or the knots in it. I don't know if you can see it in the bottom left. There's a knot that's still intact. It's only held on by about a 1/2 inch of material. And I think up in the upper right, there's a little branch that sticks out of it. So it came out pretty nicely. And then it's textured around the rim with a dental burr. Just a lot of little textured dots that are ground in.
Nolan Boyd.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
This was Christmas time, and the order came in. It'd be like a clock, little Italian girl that's friend us. And so I built a clock that looks a little bit like a Chianti bottle. And again, it's cherry clock mechanism. And I think you can see at the bottom, it's about 12 inches tall. It's turned on essentially the premise that Tom Olichu did the, help me here a second.
Canteen?
The canteens, the flask. Anyway, I've done a couple of these clocks before. This one was sort of a request from my daughter for this girl. That picture is a little bit little bit off. Like I said, look, it's a little taller, looks a little slimmer than this. Again, cherry. I think, yeah, several coats of shellac was all the finishes on it. And they can't see the back, but the back is open, so you can get into the clock to change the batteries, and that's just a big loose plug of cherry that sets in there and fall out if you pull it backwards. Got a big thank you, said that was great. Again, Christmas time, and had orders for some magic wands. So this one's made out of brown. I have ebony. Little removable cap in the very top where you stick in the whatever the magic is. Maybe it's a feather or a bead or whatever. There's coming up a couple more wands that are similar. This one I turned out of a piece of brown heart that I'd gotten from someplace. I think it was a gift at one point. Similar structure, about 16 inches long. And one more coming up, and I guess cherry. Yeah, it's a cherry one. It's a little bit longer. Same premise. Again, requested for Christmas gifts, and so that's what I got into this year. Instead of ornaments, I was doing wands and clocks.
Very, very nice, Tony.
Okay.
Where did you buy the clock from?
I don't remember. Online. I recall, I think I looked for clock mechanisms on Amazon. And I found what I want. That clock is, I think it's a 3.5 inch diameter bore for the clock itself. Or maybe that's face diameter, I don't recall.
Do the ends of the wands thread in, or do they just press in, or what?
The cap just press in. It's just press in like a 3/8 inch diameter tenon and bore a hole 1.5 inches or so deep into the top of it. And like I said, I have made some in the past that had a little feather that was mounted in the top, so when you pull it out, it's like usually for kids, although these were all requested by young ladies. One of them was undergoing some cancer treatments, and thought it'd be nice if she had a magic wand. One of the others had just moved and needed help cleaning the place, I guess. So anyway, those were Christmas gift requests. This one is a little piece of ambrosial maple that I got from, Bill remembers where I got it. It's a branch. It's about 3.5 inches. It's natural edge. I think, lacquer finish. Sprayed a lacquer finish because of the bark. I couldn't really wipe on anything, so it was a spray lacquer. Again, about 3.5 by 3.5. It's out of a small branch piece. And what was left of that branch piece, I did an ingrain with natural edge. Again, it's the same piece of ambrosia maple. Can't say too much more about it. About 4 inches diameter, a couple inches tall. A little clunky, but interesting. And
Hey, Ron.
And this one is a piece of ambrosia maple. This one I think was bought from Woodcraft or something as a gift to me several years ago. I found a piece and turned it. Again, it's ambrosia maple. It's a low slung bowl. That's about all you can say about it. The picture here is a little fuzzy. I didn't think it was that fuzzy when I sent it in, but looks a little bit out of focus. Got a lot of character, if you will.
Okay, Jim Meyer. I know you're there. Maybe he went away.
There
Do
we
you see
are.
him?
No, here he is.
Okay,
Looks like somebody sat on that and squashed it down, but it's actually much taller. 12.5 inches high and Bradford Pear, a little ebony finial. It was getting too cold to turn anything more elaborate. And the tin roof is a piece of galvanized duct to, I think it was an AAW demonstration. Somebody had made these lids. So I took a bowl blank, dished it out a little, and a ball peen hammer and a piece of tin, and there was the lid. The whole thing holds a little over 2 cups of worth of volume. So slowly but surely, I'm learning how to do hollow forms.
Very nice.
I have no idea what the wood is on the inside.
Same as the outside.
Yes. No, I meant the little plug in the lid. A bunch of cracks that I didn't really put some epoxy and some CA glue in it. And was done with it. Finishes lacquer, spray lacquer.
All right, Chuck, there you go. Get that done on your new lathe?
No, this was started a long time ago. Piece of some type of birch or that. I got them when I first started turning and just never got around to it. And for some reason, it holds its bark really well. So I got this one finished up after having started it
What's to be on
years
TV?
ago. Next.
Hey, Ron, do you want me to run the show and see if it takes the distortion away?
Yeah, you can try that, sure.
Ron Seeloff, you'll have to give me permission.
Somebody wake up
You
Ron.
should be able to just do a share screen.
Oh, me?
No.
While you guys are trying to figure that one out, this was another one of Jim Pugh's bulb blanks. So the shape was created by Jim, and I eventually got around to finishing it off. I'm not sure what it was at the time. I thought it was a piece of cherry, but I'm not certain of it. Next. This one I think was ash. Again, it was from some Jim Pugh blanks, and I kind of liked the way he had upturned the lip of it.
Chuck, let's see if we can get Mike Crouch.
You want me?
Yeah, were you going to share?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's Mike Brackett. Mike Brackett.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go.
All right, let them get caught up.
I don't know about you guys, but the image resolution is much better now too.
Yeah.
It's the much sharper pictures.
Yes, it is.
100%.
I guess we should start over and have everyone do it again.
Hey, Gail. Guess I got
I don't know. Yeah, it's much clearer.
That's here's where we're at now. Look at who's coming up.
Okay, Chuck.
I'd finished already. If you had stayed awake, you'd have noticed that.
Well, he's leaving it on there, so I think he wants to hear you again.
They just redid this picture.
All right, Jim Duxbury.
That's me. I thought it was in better focus. I do better with a worse resolution. This is a glued up layered bowl that's, I call them a pandemic bowl because you'd only make this in a pandemic, but it's glued up of layers, 5 different layers, and you cut 3 rings out of each one, and they're glued together and indexed as you put them together. Maybe the next picture is better. That's what it looks like inside. Kind of interesting. Oh, that's on the lathe. It doesn't look like it much on the lathe. It's hard to figure out, but when you cut these rings, excuse me, when you cut these rings, the shape is all determined. I have to draw this, and each ring is cut on a scroll saw and put together. So all you do is knock the humps off, and you've got the bowl. Kaleidoscope, desk model kaleidoscope, cherry with the yellow heart, 3-mirror scope. The button with the X on it is a battery box, and there's lighting inside of it so that you can look at it in total darkness. And you can show solid objects in that. Regular kaleidoscope, the light has to come down through the objects. And when you put a solid object in it, it's like holding a quarter up to the sun. You see the black side of it. This has light bulbs inside, actually screw in little light bulbs. So you're lighting the viewing side, and you can show gears and coins and shells and all kinds of things. Lots of fun.
Jim, how tall was that?
Probably 12, 13 inches, I think, something like that. Yeah. About 12 inches wide and 2 inch, about 4 inches thick. But fun turning. Anyway.
Very nice. Ron Rosen, you still with us?
Ron said he would not be here today. Tim, are you with us? As usual, Tim's exquisite, perfect work. And amazingly, his shop is about the size of a shoebox. Some beautiful stuff comes out of it. Boy, that's unusual. Tom Lodge. I know you're there. I saw you.
You know, Ernie Conover started a thing at 10 o'clock. Some people may have dropped off.
Yeah, that's possible.
I don't see him on the list anymore.
Okay. Looks like Jerry to me. David Bricker.
He's still here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, most of my are platters and bowls, more traditional type of wood turnings. All of the material came from the family farm, with the exception of one. I actually was the person who submitted the information on the last newsletter. I live south of Worcester, and I have many walnut blanks that are already cut, as well as cherry. There's quite a few other possible woods to work with. What I do is I have the equipment to cut the trees down and haul them to a local Amish sawmill. And I have the material cut up in the slabs. Some of them end up being live edge tables, and others end up being potentially bowl blanks. All of the stuff that you see, all the material is air dried, with the exception of maybe one of the walnut ones that was kiln dried locally. We'll start off with this one here. This one happened to be our Buckeye tree that was in the front of our house. Our house was built in 1857. And as a kid, I grew up next to the farmhouse, and this Buckeye tree was always something I first saw in front of our house. So about a year ago, we decided that it needed to come down because the crotch has started to separate. So we got to cut down. And so I kept many pieces of this, some of them cut up in the slabs. And this particular piece, I just let lay for probably 3 or 4 months. And the interesting thing about it is the spalting was very effective. If it hadn't been for that, it would have been more very of a plain whitewood. So the spalting really gives it nice character. I turned some ornaments out of this Buckeye as well, and they turned out very nice too. Okay, next one. This is a cherry platter. The one thing that I try to do with the pieces that I create when I make them into bowl blanks is try to center them so the figure is more centrally located in the platter. I believe this one is about 11.5 inches by 1.5 inches in depth. This is also from the farm. I believe this one was kiln dried. This is a walnut platter. I used Mahoning's oil in that, and that one is 9.5 by 1.5 inches. That would be the same bowl. I started off with a live edge blank that I'd cut with my chainsaw. I've got many pieces of this live edge type. I decided to remove the live edge bark on it because cherry, it didn't seem to retain the bark as well. So I removed the bark and I just sanded it down to get it to the sap ring. And again, I tried to make that the figure centralized in the center of the bowl. I think this is the one that came from there's a local Amish company that does sanding and planing of many slabs. So what they'll do is if the slab that they're working with is a little too long, typically they'll cut off anything from maybe 8 inches to 16 inches in length. They throw it out the side of their shed. So periodically we go down there and crawl on top of this huge pile of cutoffs, and every once in a while you get lucky and get a piece of this nature. And this is cherry platter, 11.5 by 1.5 inches.
That was a beauty. That's quite impressive.
And this is another cherry from that I turned recently, and it just has really neat figure to it. And that one has all of the cherry that you've seen has a mineral oil, beeswax mixture finish on them. And here's another walnut one. This one is a smaller one. It's 10.5 by 2.5, and it has mahonings on it. This is one that had would have been considered a live edge. I cut this blank with the chainsaw. I had about 20 of those blanks. Unfortunately, about 3/4 of them cracked significantly on me, but 2 or 3 of them I was able to salvage. And it does. Walnut kind of has, especially being this is a tree that had fallen down and the bark was already off, so it had different colors to it. A lot of times with the walnut and that sap wood, it'll kind of have that greenish hue, but over time, of course, that kind of darkens as well. Another cherry with a pretty cool figure to it, and that also has that mineral oil. I believe that one is 13 inches by 2. Oh, there was one that had a lot of chatoyance in it. I didn't make mention of that. I have a few of those that I'm planning on turning in the future. So I don't think it was that one. If you go back. Well, we may not be able to see the chatoyance in the picture, but it is pretty cool appearance that it gives to the platter. Well, I don't. Maybe the one before that. One more. No, that's all right. I'll be turning more, so I'll submit more in the future. So and try to get that. There it is. That's the one that has the chatoyance, and it almost is a 3-dimensional appearance whenever you are looking at it. So that one I liked a lot. So as I talked about earlier, if any of you are interested, I live south of Worcester. If you're headed down to Wayne County, Holmes County, feel free to stop in if you want to check out some of the material that I have. If you want to write this down, my cell phone number, if you want to text me, is 330-988-3452. And there's more information that was on the back of that last newsletter.
Nice job, Dave.
Thank you.
Tom,
Yes, sir. Okay, this is walnut hollow form, 6 by 3.5. This was a piece of walnut that from some wood that a friend of ours, her father, he's 96 years old, and he does a lot of flat work, and he had some pieces laying on that he gave it to me, about 3.5, almost 4 inches by 4 by about 36. And this really isn't a bark inclusion. It was a split in I think it probably was from a branch that was trying to grow out of the tree, I thought. It wasn't a piece of bark, that's for sure. Unless it was bark inside. I'm not a tree expert. But anyway, I was hoping it wouldn't fly apart, and it didn't. And I put a olive wood lid on it with a walnut finial, and I think it came out pretty nice. I couldn't hollow it out as thin as I wanted to because of that bark inclusion. If you could see the profile, which I didn't include a photo of, it goes in pretty deep, and I didn't want to come through from the inside out. So I just left it a little thicker than I normally would. But okay, next slide, please. That is from the same piece of wood that the other one, the previous one, was from. And this is one I turned for our friend's father, and I gifted it to him for a little thank you for the wood. And he gave me several pieces of the walnut, and a little bit more of that inclusion was in this piece too, with again with an olive wood lid, and that olive wood had a beautiful grain figure in it, and so he really liked it, and I put a thank you note in it for him and everything. But I thought it was a nice gesture on his part, and yeah, I used and both pieces I used. Minwax antique oil finish on it, and it's 2 coats. And I don't know if anybody has used that before, but it's a nice finish. It gives you a hard finish, and with a soft luster. And you can build up the shine. More coats you put on, the shinier it'll get. But that's just 2 coats there. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, there is another view, and that's the olive wood. To show off the grain figure in that olive wood piece. Okay. Mike Bracken ought to appreciate this. He loves his acorns so much, he told me, that he spreads them all over his driveway, he told me. So I don't know. This kind of inspired me. But anyway, so some lidded boxes. Make them in, been making them in various sizes, and the walnut lid. The nut portion is maple. The lid is walnut, of course. The finial and the lid are all one piece. And I used a Wagner texturing tool to put a little texture on that cap. I think it came out pretty nice. There are various sizes.
I was totally unaware that Tom sent these in. Is Tom here? I don't think he's here today, so I guess I'll talk for him. This is last week. We were at Ramsey's studio in Somerset, Kentucky, and we turned for 3 days, and we each had 3 hats: cowboy, an outback, and a baseball cap. And believe it or not, these are the first hats Tom has ever turned. So he did a real good job. There he is. He's chucking away. Hey, Chris, what do I do next? Is this any better? I thought that was kind of a unique picture. He was having a little bit of problem seeing the light come through the hat. So Chris turned off the lights. Hey. Shut him up. What am I supposed to do? That's Tom's Outback hat. That was before it was bent. Get him outside. Excuse my dog's barking, and she's putting them outside now. This was the cowboy hat that I made, and one of the things I wanted Chris to teach us this time was how he puts his logos on his hats. So he's got a friend who makes the decal for him. It's slightly curved so that when you put it on something round, it comes out straight. And he left us for about 15 minutes, went and got the decals and brought them back. And what he does, that's actually Tester's model paint. He puts the decal on there and marks the outside edges of everything. And then he takes a burner, and he literally burns all around the outside edges of these letters. And then when he puts the paint on there, it literally balls up on there, and he just spreads it out, and it doesn't go beyond the burn line. Now, if a little bit does get beyond the burn line, when it's dry, he takes an X-Acto knife, because we do have a coat of lacquer on these when they come off the lathe. He can literally just take that X-Acto knife and chip it off, and it pops right off. And again, that burn line separates where it should stay and where it doesn't. And you can feel it is raised when you feel it, but you spray lacquer over that. This one is done. And I got about 6 or 7 coats of sprayed lacquer on it after it was completely finished. So you feel the raise on it, but it's completely closed in there. But that was one of the things I wanted him to teach us when we went back this time. I think that was the last one. Oh, there's Tom again. And again, I didn't know he sent these in. But we had a good time. We really did. Chris is a great guy with a good personality. So. And there again, you see, please email your pictures to Mike Bracken instead of texting them. Save him a little bit of work.